Over the past week, Russian troops have launched a series of attacks on the facilities of the fuel and energy complex of the so-called Ukraine. In Kyiv region, Tripolska thermal power plant was disabled. The equipment of the turbine room was completely destroyed. In Kharkiv, the strikes occurred at CHPP-2 and CHPP-3, but power outages were partially eliminated. To completely disrupt the stability of the city's energy system, it is necessary to disable the switchyard at the 𝐑𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐚 TPP. In Zaporizhzhia region, 750 kV Zaporizhzhia substation was the target of the attack. A large fire broke out at the facility, and in the regional center, the territories of Motor-Sich plant and Krankomplekt plant were hit. The enemy uses both of them for military purposes. Several hits on the port infrastructure were recorded in Odessa region. In addition, as a result of a series of strikes, the railway bridge at the exit from Oleksandrivka was destroyed. In turn, Ukrainian units have again used drones to attack Russian rear regions. Several vehicles were intercepted in Voronezh region, but one of them managed to hit the school gymnasium in Borysoglebsk. Another Ukrainian drone tried to attack the international airport in Lipetsk. The drone was suppressed by electronic warfare units, after which it crashed into a hospital building under construction in Dobro. Also, for the first time since the summer, Ukrainian aviation launched Storm Shadow cruise missiles at Luhansk. Residential buildings and a machine building plant, where production was planned to start, were damaged. As for the Special Military Operation Zone, fierce fighting continued along the entire line of contact. In North Ukrainian direction, the enemy improve a field fortification and train the personnel. In Slobozhansk direction, the AFU carried out indiscriminate strikes on the border throughout the week. In Kursk region, an enemy drone dropped an explosive device on a car in Apanasovka, killing 3 people. Positional battles took place in Kupiansk-Svatove direction on the Ivanivka-Sinkivka line and Krokhmalny-Tverdokhlibovo line. At the same time, enemy units equipped defensive positions near the Oskil River and restored one of the disabled crossings. In Lyman direction, the Russian assault groups were able to seize several enemy strongholds on the way to Torsky. In turn, Ukrainian units counter-attacked near Terny and forced Russian units to withdraw several hundred meters. In Siversk direction, Russian soldiers did not stop trying to advance in the Bilohorivka area. During the week, the fiercest battles were fought for the dominant height on the chalk quarry dump. Near Bakhmut, Russian units seized the southwestern outskirts of Bodanivka. The enemy retreated towards Kalinina, on the eastern outskirts of which fighting broke out near Lesnaya Saint. At the same time, severe fighting continued in Canal district in the east of Chasiv Yar. At the current stage, the main Russian forces are aimed at squeezing the enemy out of the forest area south of the city. In Avdiivka direction, Russian troops are advancing on a wide front, exploiting success at the Umansky-Yasnobrodivka-Netailov line. On the northern face, assault groups seized several plantations south of Novokalinove and began fighting within the village. The northern outskirts of Berdichi were also completely cleared. The settlement came under full control of Russian armed forces. In the fields between Tonenka and Vodyan, Russian fighters advanced to a depth of up to 3 kilometers. The situation is also difficult for the AFU near Umanske. There is a less than a kilometer distance away to the western outskirts from Russian units. The Ukrainian command has already begun preparations for a possible withdrawal from the southern part of the village beyond the Umanska pond. In Donetsk direction, Russian troops have established full control over Pervomaiska. On the outskirts of Krasnohorivka, the assault groups managed to make some progress towards the refractory plant. Severe fighting is still going on in Vuhledar direction in Novomikhailivka and Mashino-Stroitel garden village. Ukrainian units tried to counterattack, but each of them ended only in losses and retreat. In Vremivka direction, Russian units, supported by armored vehicles, carried out an attack at the direction of Urozhain. The enemy failed to delay the onslaught and retreated, leaving positions in the forest plantation to the south of the settlement. Fighting continued in Zaporizhzhia direction in the central part of Robotyne and northwest of Verbov. At the same time, the AFU struck Tokmak with cluster munitions, as a result of which more than 10 civilians were killed. In 𝐔𝐤𝐫𝐚 direction, the AFU continued to hold positions in the basements in the center of Krinky. The enemy continued to fire at the Russian positions from the right bank of the Dnipro River and actively used FPV drones.